guys, how's it going? I'm just saying that there's a possibility. I'm not saying this will happen, but I believe that there's a possibility that Canopy stock could go to $100, and I'm gonna explain it in this video why. Right now, Canopy is trading at what I think is fair value, around $60. It could go higher than this. It could go slightly lower than this, but I don't think it'll go lower than $55. And it won't go any higher than $65 for a while. I think it's going to stabilize for a while at $60. This is just my opinion. It could keep rising, and there's a chance it might fall down to $50, but that would make no sense for it to just give back the rally, especially when things are getting so exciting in the cannabis market. So I think a worst case scenario, it gives back $3 and the stock trades at around $55, and best case scenario, it goes to $65. So we'll see what happens, because it's way too exciting, and I believe that in October we could have a pop, and that pop could rise Canopy stock to $100. I'm just saying, it's a possibility. So I'm going to start off with this possibility with this video on BNN. So let's begin.
In Canada's cannabis sector, BNN Bloomberg's David George Kosh joins us now with more. David, great to be with you. Thank you very much. And this is your story that you broke for BNN Bloomberg. What can you tell us about Diageo interested in Canada's cannabis sector?
So sources have told me that Diageo, which is the world's largest distiller and the maker of products that we both might know, such as Guinness, Johnnie Walker, Smirnoff, Crown Royal, they're engaged in some serious talks with some Canadian cannabis producers, at least 3 to my knowledge.
Let's talk a little bit about why Diageo is perhaps circling Canada. What are the thoughts here?
Well, there's a report that shows that when cannabis enters a legal market, that leads to about a 10% decline in binge drinking intensity rates. So alcohol makers are looking to protect their flank to invest in cannabis companies to make sure that they're hedged against further declines in the space. Diageo is seeing flat sales of alcohol globally and a little bit of a decline in North America. It is still early to be in the cannabis space, so a company like Diageo may be looking to not pay that premium price that it could pay down the road for a cannabis player. And as well, we have to keep in mind, just because they invest in the cannabis space doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to actually act and produce cannabis-infused product. They could be just taking an early stake now to see how the dust settles after legalization happens in October.
And of course, we've seen this marriage between cannabis and alcohol companies in the past with Constellation interested in Canopy and a deal there. What might this mean for those two companies?
Well, I think this kind of presents an interesting opportunity for alcohol and cannabis companies to move closer together and to really crystallize their ties to each other. We've seen that with Molson Coors as well as Hexo or Hydropothecary. Diageo is just the latest, but more importantly, the biggest player that could potentially play into the space. But also, when we see these companies enter these major companies such as Molson Coors, such as Constellation, such as Diageo enter cannabis, what this does is it legitimizes the cannabis space. Cannabis for decades has been stigmatized, and only now have we seen this this commodity alongside the legalization here in Canada present the industry on firm global footing. And the emergence of a player such as Diageo presents it legitimizes what cannabis can do to the broader global market.
It's interesting because when you take a look at Constellation, Constellation is certainly a well-known name, but it's not quite in the same sphere almost as Diageo. So this is quite the statement today that we're learning about.
Yes, Diageo, I believe, has 3 times the market cap as Molson Coors, and significantly larger than Constellation Brands. So it is the biggest player that could potentially enter the space.
What are we thinking in terms of timing? When might we hear something from Diageo? So
sources have been a little mixed in terms of what they've described as what Diageo could do in terms of pulling the trigger on a deal. One source has told me that they're going to take a long time and may not actually, have a deal with a cannabis player. That being said, One source has told me that a deal is close, and they're in serious discussions with senior management.
Okay, David, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much
for
joining us and for breaking the story as well. That is David George Kosh, a reporter here at BNN Bloomberg.
So, I think if that news actually came through and within the time frame of September or maybe even October, just before legalization, Canopy stock, that might be a catalyst that might bring Canopy stock to $100. I did some calculation. At $100, Canopy stock is valued at $30 billion. Right now, the market cap is about $12.9 billion, $13 billion. But once Constellation Brand buys out Canopy, giving it another 103 million shares, so this will be like around 330 million shares. So if you take 330 million shares, and then you times the price tag of $100, that's $33 billion. So it's a possibility. It's still quite steep. $33 billion is quite steep, but if Diageo invests into Aurora or Afria, it could cause the stock to rally to $33 billion, giving probably the top three producers, Aurora, Canopy, and Afria, in the entire market, the entire Canadian cannabis market, probably $100 billion market cap, like $100 billion in total. I mean, that's a lot of money, but it's totally possible. I'm not saying it will happen. I'm just saying it's totally possible. I say that a lot of this cannabis stocks are gonna rally quite a bit for a while, like in probably October time frame. All these stocks will be worth so much more. I mean, honestly, I would not sell. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna hold out because I have a feeling that this fall is gonna be really nice, a really nice rally. So that's when I would consider selling the next like big leg up. So I'm gonna let it stabilize for a while, and then if it dips to $55, maybe I'll buy more Canopy, or maybe I'll buy more Afria. I'm not gonna buy any more Aurora, but maybe I'll buy Afria. Maybe somebody's investing in Afria. It's always possible. If you look at the stat, right, it says that $5.7 billion is spent on cannabis per year. It's basically 85% of it is on the legal market. Where is it? For October, where did I find that 85%? Shit, I don't want to redo this video. So, okay. Ugh. Oh my god, that was just... I'm a dumbass. Sorry for being a dumbass. Maybe, yeah, sorry. Anyways, yeah, it's right here. Near 85% of the purchase were illegal, down from 98% in the mid-2014, as consumption for medical use has increased. So I think with legalization, the legal market could have a 25% to 15%, while the legal market will take up 75% to 85%. So we'll see what happens, but this is my prediction. But the legal market will always be there because people will try to sell product no matter what. They'll just keep lowering costs until they can sell the product. Okay, I guess next slide. If that news came out in October, I could see Aurora like rallying back to maybe the all-time highs of $14, giving them a $15 billion market cap. If Canopy is a $30 billion market cap, Aurora will be at least a $15 billion market cap, if not a $20 billion market cap. At least this is just my opinion. We'll see what happens. So I mean, would Aurora be a better buy than Canopy? Canopy right now is the safer buy because of Constellation Brand, a guaranteed thing. But if you're willing to bet on Aurora, you could get lucky. Aurora could get a deal from a big pharma company or a big alcohol company, because Constellation Brand basically played their hand, and now all these big companies are like, what? Okay, we gotta do something, or else we might be, or else we might lose out on a big market. So that's getting a bunch of companies scrambling to try to buy into these stocks or buy into these companies. At least this is what I believe, and that's why there's such a rally. So apparently Aphria had some rumors today. That's why the stock rose 22.68%. The rumor is Aphria going to be chosen as Daigou Canadian cannabis partner? I think one of the... So right here, the chief financial officer of Daigou North America, a position has held since 2016. In his 10 years with Daigou, he also served as president of Daigou Canada and also held variety of finances and commercial roles in Canada. So some Mr. Razabin, probably working for Aphria right now, has experience in Daigou, so maybe they're talking to Aphria. That's the rumor anyways. We'll see what happens. We'll see how this pans out. I think Constellation Brands basically kick Diablo into high gear and be like, okay, shit, if Constellation Brand is doing this, we're the bigger company than Constellation Brand. We should be actively looking into this. So they could be working with Aphria, and Aurora might get a different partner. But I think all these Canadian companies are looking to have a big alcohol international company help them establish as a global cannabis player. At least this is just my opinion. Oh, not supposed to have that in there. And you never know, Marican could get it. Marican is constantly, they have like boots on ground in Germany, and maybe they're talking to Marican, just buying them straight out and just building off their assets. I don't know if they will. I don't think that's the wisest choice. I think Aurora would be better, but maybe Marican might get buy out by another alcohol company. There is a lot of alcohol companies. Oh yeah, I guess this is the reason why I have this here. Shit. I think my internet is down. Nope. Okay, so if you look at this is all the alcohol companies on like the planet. Maybe, I don't know. Depending if this information is correct or not, but basically Constellation Brand is right here. Mosin is down here. Mosin is definitely smaller than Constellation Brand, and Daigou is right here. So there's like a whole bunch of other players that can hop on the cannabis bandwagon, because I think that's what's happening right now. These alcohol companies are worried and they're hopping on the cannabis bandwagon. So yeah, I think it's exciting times. I would not be a seller right now. I'm basically have most of my money in the market, so I'm not cash. I'm not liquid. If I was to buy another stock, I would have to sell another stock. So, and you never know. Marican. Oh, I think I already mentioned this. I think Marican could be bought out by one of the companies. Diageo. This is Diageo finances. If you look at the income statement, I mean the revenue, they're making about $5 billion more than Constellation Brand, and they're making $3 billion. Yeah, they're making probably way more net income than Constellation Brand. Their balance sheet is pretty good. They have $29 billion in assets and $18 billion in liabilities, so they could raise money for sure to buy out Aurora, to invest into Aurora so that they can grow the company aggressively. At least I'm hoping. I think that's it. I hope something exciting happens to Namaste. Like Namaste gets a merger with a big player or something dramatic that will help their gross income, because I like Sean's business model. I like how he goes on YouTube. I'm hoping his YouTube grows to the size of Jeremy's channel one day, bigger than my channel. That's my hope, right? I hope like thousands and tens of thousands of people watch Namaste in a year or two from now, but you know, that's wishful thinking. That may never happen, but so Namaste, I mean, I think Sean has, like Namaste has a chance to do something. I mean, but they are the biggest gamble out of all the LP players. At least this is my opinion. Well, not the biggest gamble. I think there's better investments than Namaste, but Namaste is, I don't know. If you're buying Namaste, you're trusting your money in management's hands. Management has to do everything right to really raise the stock price up high. So let's see how well they execute. I'm hoping they get on the NASDAQ. That's just wishful thinking though. So thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you dislike this video, please give me a thumbs down. Subscribe for future updates and have a great day. Bye.